Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for everybody who has been contributing in these processes. May I begin by apologizing for coming in late, but I've been listening, and also say that Kenya finds itself in a unique situation where confirm to us that he has no regard for it. He does not know the constitution. He does not even understand it. Perhaps even to blame Mr. William Ruto for his character. Recently, we have seen blatant breach of the constitution, whereby even the president himself is accompanied by goons in his political trails. It tells you that the country has gone to the dogs. And until we get this country back to the path of the rule of law, hadi wakati ule tutakaporudisha hii nchi katika mfumo wa sheria na mfumo wa katiba, this country will not begin to heal. I have been able to diagnose the problem with Mr. William Ruto. The problem with Mr. William Ruto is that he does not understand our constitution. He has never read our constitution. And unfortunately, he was sworn in to defend a constitution that he has never read and he does not understand. If he understands the constitution, he would understand that these roadside declarations were a long time outlawed. They were a long time codified in our constitution, that the nation and the person at the helm will always speak within the confinement of the law. If Mr. William Ruto has read the constitution, by now he would have apologized to the people and the Kenyans who lost their properties, Kenyans who are injured during these campaign spree that he engaged in Nairobi. But because he is senseless, because he is mindless, because the man seems to or appears to be out of control of his faculties, he does not even understand that Kenyans were injured during that particular time. If Mr. William Ruto understands our constitution, he will not be giving these fake promises that he's giving on day-to-day basis. He would at least understand that currently the government speaks through declarations and through cabinet memos and through properly documented decisions by the Senate, by the executive. If Mr. William Ruto understands our constitution, he would have understood that it's not just easy for him to go and say he's going to spend money to buy a photocopier machine for chapatis without that resolution being passed by cabinet. And most importantly, without a budget being created for it by the oversight organ. But the unfortunate thing is that Mr. William Ruto has captured all our institutions. He has captured parliament, the judiciary is struggling and fighting for its life because Mr. William Ruto is strangling the judiciary. Parliament is one of the biggest failure that this country has suffered. Campaigns in Nairobi, when Kenyans lost their properties, when Kenyans were mugged, when Kenyans were pickpocketed. A member of parliament in that campaign trail, listening to him saying that I'll buy a machine to make chapatis, knowing well that the budget has not provided for it, how else can he hold this man to account? So, my brothers and sisters, we are having to sacrifice ourselves to reclaim this country, to rebuild this country, and to redeem this country. When we enacted the new constitution, Dibal, we give unto ourselves a document that was to give and to always be the cardinal north. We wanted to pass to break away from the past. We wanted a new beginning. And therefore the constitution, when we diagnosed the problem that the country was facing, we prescribed a cure for it. And the cure finds itself well seated within the four corners of the constitution. But I keep on saying as I land, it is not enough just to have a new constitution, a good constitution, a progressive constitution, or good laws. And I'll take you back the memory lane. In 1963, when we got the Lancaster Constitution, Kenyatta one came, atrocities were committed, the economy collapsed, people were killed, to mention but a few, Gamapinto and JM, and we passed that era. Moi came, again with the Lancaster Constitution. Goldenberg happened, people were killed, people were detained without trial, human rights were violated, our public land was stolen. Again with the 1963 Constitution. But Kibaki came 2002 to 2013. The same document that Moi and Kenyatta abused. The same constitution that Moi used to oppress Kenyans was again applied by Kibaki. The economy grew, the infrastructure expanded, human rights, human rights were restored, the democratic complementary institutions were restored. What does that tell you? That other than just having a good constitution, we also need to check on the character of the person at the helm. Let me take you now to 2022, 2027, 2025. A man in the name of William Ruto, with a new constitution, a progressive one, a constitution that has created serious checks and balances, a constitution that has created the separation of powers. It has created the complementary institutions, but they have not all been mutilated. Yet he is one of the person with the best constitution. Why? Because his character is questionable, because his behavior is questionable, because he does not believe in this constitution. So even as we strive and as we pride ourselves of having good constitution, we must check on the character of the person at the helm. Is that person trustworthy? Is that person an honest person? Does that person hold the pillar of integrity? Can that person be called to account? Can that person be transparent? Can that person be able to respect the rule of law, even as bad as it is or as good as it is? If that person does not meet those qualifications, then that person does not befit to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. And that's why I'm saying, as I land, it is important to start exploring the possibilities within which we can have the mental status of Mr. William Ruto checked. And Article 144 and Article 145 of the Constitution. Because if you see a man who lies from morning from sunrise to sunset, he lies even to blatantly lie. It tells you this man must not be in the full faculty of his in full control of his faculties. And that's his parliament. If parliament was what is contemplated to be in the constitution, they would have at least tabled a motion to discuss the mental infirmity or the mental stability or the mental wellness of Mr. William Ruto. To me, if I was to vote and give a card, I would give a red card as to his mental capacity to govern this country and to continue governing this country. I land.
Right, thank you, Ndegwa. But don't you think also that is a very strong verbiage when you talk about the mental capacity? And I will challenge you as an advocate. The burden of proof is very key. When you
Yes,
say that we have gangs that they were accompanying the president, how are they associated with the president? I think that's such a strong statement to make without any stitch of evidence. And for you as an advocate, I
well,
know
Dibal,
evidence is
Dibal, if I
yes.
was to just respond to your inquiry, Mr. William Ruto knows that people apologize. I think he does not have the feelings or the senses. I think they are long gone. Number two, on the question of the mental infirmity, the, and when you say mental illness, and for people who can assess whether he's in full control of his faculties, and that's why we are challenging Parliament, because Parliament is the institution where that should happen. Please bring a motion to discuss the conduct of the president. Bring a motion to discuss the status of his mental health, so that then the people who have the capacity can then form the tribunal to assess his mental capacity to continue leading this country.
All right, thank you. Daniel Mazo, I think that is the honor that you'll be given as well. I'll come to you momentarily. Let me hear from Professor Peter Kagwanja. We tried to get you at some point, but we couldn't. Are you